The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's vision is a world where every person has the opportunity to live a healthy, productive life. Every year, the foundation spends billions of dollars around the globe tackling critical issues like child mortality, infectious disease, expanding health coverage, and access to education. They're also big believers in the power of data and technology to help solve some of the world's most pressing issues. We caught up with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation CEO Dr. Desmond-Hellmann at Geekwire in Seattle. Take a listen.
In every way, data drives how we take action. Globally, we use data on the global burden of disease to decide which diseases to invest in. We invest in HIV, malaria, TB, pneumonia, diarrheal diseases, specifically because those are the top 5 killers of folks who live in low resource areas. So that's completely a data-driven decision. Increasingly in the U.S., we use data like the data of Raj Chetty to understand neighborhoods, census zones that are filled with opportunity, where people can have the American dream, and just as importantly, areas that are low opportunity. So that's driving some of the questions we're asking about economic mobility in the United States.
You lived in Uganda working on AIDS and cancer. You're trained as an oncologist. You have worked on gene therapy and precision medicine. Where do you see the biggest breakthroughs in the near term using those technologies?
Well, one of the most exciting areas was actually the subject of the Nobel Prize for Medicine or Physiology just yesterday, and that is tapping into the immune system to treat cancer. It's early days, but it literally is the kind of gee whiz science that I love. The science that was celebrated with the Nobel yesterday was all about the cancer sending a signal to turn off or turn down your own immune system. Really a dastardly thing. And the cool thing about that science was that once you know where that signal is targeted, you can take off the brakes. And so today's cancer treatment, the kind of cancer treatment that allowed Jimmy Carter to celebrate his 94th birthday yesterday, is all about taking off the brakes, and your own immune system allows you to self-treat your cancer. If I said that, you would say, come on, you know, that's science fiction. That's in the future. That's actually happening now and is a way that patients are treated today.
Now, if you solve all of these problems around the world, you eradicate cancer, you eradicate hunger, there's concerns about overpopulation. Bill Gates posted a video with his annual letter to demonstrate his point that this shouldn't be a concern. Why aren't you concerned about overpopulation as a result of your efforts?
Yeah, I actually think it's one of the things that is under-recognized. If life gets better for populations, if life gets better for women, they have fewer children. Prosperity means that people have options. Your children actually surviving beyond their first month of life, beyond their 2nd and 5th birthday, means that women choose to have fewer children. And so it's actually a myth that helping people live long, prosperous lives can drive overpopulation. Far the opposite. And in fact, we just had an event last week we called Goalkeepers 2018 that celebrated the prosperity and 1 billion people lifting themselves out of poverty since the year 2000. In those areas where women especially, but families have been lifted out of poverty and drive their own agenda, they have fewer children, not more.
Now, Melinda has been a huge advocate for birth control, which has been at odds with the views of the current administration. How do you balance doing your work as a foundation with the views of the U.S. government?
Well, it turns out that there's actually something that virtually anybody you talk to, conservative, a liberal, somebody, no matter what their religion, can agree on. And that is women should be able to decide how old she is when she has her first child, how many children she wants to have, and how she spaces her children. All those things should be in a woman's hands. And no matter what your beliefs are, allowing women to drive her agenda on when she has children, how many she has, and how far apart they're born, which improves their ability to be healthy, all of those things are why we care about family planning. And we want women to be able to make that choice, to make modern, safe birth control available for women all around the world.
You obviously have your own extensive experience, and you're working with two smart and opinionated people in Bill and Melinda. How do you balance your ideas with theirs?
I love working with Bill and Melinda. I think, like so many opportunities I've had in my career, when you work with people who are smart and passionate, you can disagree. You can have really wonderful debates and dialogue about where to invest, how much to invest, what to push, what your priorities should be. We actually very uncommonly disagree, partly because we have very, very similar values, and in part because they're so clear about the North Star for our foundation. All lives have equal value. So everything we do all across the world has one thing in common, and that is our agenda is equity. And sharing that and sharing values means that most of the time we agree.
Now, you're also on the board of Facebook, and look, I have to ask, on the heels of Cambridge Analytica, on the heels of the biggest hack in Facebook's history, the founders of WhatsApp and Instagram leaving, the public trust in Facebook has eroded substantially. What's your best argument for why Mark Zuckerberg should maintain majority control and chairmanship at this point?
Well, as a director of Facebook and as the lead director of Facebook, I would tell you that having worked with Mark and known Mark before I joined the board, I am so impressed with how he's grown and developed as chairman and CEO. Something that I'm sure you covered, the switch from desktop to mobile, required an enormous drive and leadership and a huge change for Facebook. Facebook right now has a number of challenges, and I have a lot of confidence that Mark, as chairman and CEO, is going to drive Facebook in the right direction. He's spoken a lot about this publicly. I would endorse everything he's written and his testimony because I have confidence in him and Sheryl and the leadership team to drive Facebook to be what I also want Facebook to be, a good company that people trust and feel good about.